Ek het jou gesien, ek hou nog my woord.
Your intro. What are you busy with? Where are you? What's happening in your life?
I'm Francois van Coke. I'm playing shows again.
Again.
Yeah, like
They let you out
after
of the house.
so after a year and 6 months of kind of figuring things out. I mean, it was a tough year and a half. I mean, we had to change the way we thought about playing music, what we do, what comes next. You know, things that we used to doing every year was just completely gone. So now it's like getting back into the swing of things, of doing things normally again.
You were in studio this morning.
Yes, I was rehearsing a bit this morning with Folk Politica. We're playing some shows in Gauteng this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm
You
working
go
on...
tomorrow night at Highlanders.
Tomorrow night I'm in Brackenfell.
Brackenfell, any brackies?
Northern suburbs are my favorite place to play in the world because it's the closest to my house.
Okay, leave it, still be at home at 12 o'clock.
Exactly. And after that I'm in Gauteng for the weekend. I'm working on my 4th solo album. That's my main mission for the rest of the year and early 2022. Folk Politica is 18 years old. We've been playing all over the place the last couple of months.
Like, I employ a couple of people, and so the other day I sat down with one of my salespeople, and Abigail, that's now there, my social media chickie there, I just realized that when I started sales, she wasn't born for 2 years.
That's crazy.
So basically, she was born when Francois van Coke started their career. And when you're thinking about that, you know, how much the world have changed. You said it when before camera, that there was no MySpace. There was no TikTok. There was no Twitter. There was no Instagram. Dude, we had like WhatsApp and then mix it when that happened. That was like crazy.
Yeah, I thought about it this last couple of weeks that we've been playing these 18-year folk shows, because there was a show with 3 girls in the front singing every lyric to every song, the most unknown stuff. They were singing along, and I was like, how old are you?
Yeah.
19. So I was like, that is insane. I mean, that people can still relate to our music, and it's like they were born the time that these songs were written. Yeah. Crazy. But I mean, everything has changed in the music industry as well. When we started, there was nothing like Kalula or Mango. There was no cheap flights. We were driving around in a van. We toured with a map book. You know, it was before GPS. It was like, Nokia 33.
Where are we going?
Nokia 3310. You know, it was a completely different life. We toured without a laptop, so you would be on the road and you'll be organizing things with phone calls only. So it's completely different. Everything has
so
changed.
here's the question, right? How many gigs have you organized from a tiki box? Now, I know the millennials won't know what I'm talking about. Okay, that little orange ones.
Yeah.
How many gigs did you organize from that?
I can't really recall organizing any shows from a tiki box, but I definitely phoned my girlfriend from a tiki box on the road. I remember that in the early days.
With 5 guys, and how much did they gore you from the side?
Yeah, you must. That's why the tiki box is actually cool, because it's out of sight. You can step away. You know?
Hilarious. So let's hear. One thing that I always liked about you is we're boygies from the same neighborhood, right? You're slightly older. Okay, let's just say I'm slightly older this side. Okay, Francois.
I don't mind. I'm 41. I'm 41 years old.
So I'm 39 at this stage. So we're like there. We're like very close. I'm a boygie from Parow, like I always say. You're a boygie from Belleville. Okay. Now, I wanted to ask one question. So I think, Nelis, you got to load that one photo if we can.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know where
so apparently you're really good at raga, right? Now, in a certain Mr. Derek Hougaard's life, he got destroyed by 2 different people. So the first person was Brian Lima. I don't know if you saw that tackle.
I know that tackle very well.
The second person was apparently you.
Yes.
So my question was this. Because you play some raga, do you think you can Brian Lima him?
Dude, that was my Brian Lima moment. I mean, while I was preparing for this fight, obviously that Brian Lima video was sent around quite a lot. And in my mind...
It has like on every single highlight reel in the world of greatest tackles, that was that.
Yeah,
so
that's
what I'm
saw
saying.
it a lot. But I mean, like you said, I love rugby. I still love the game, watching it. I dabble in like playing tens tournaments here and there.
Yeah. We spoke about it before this thing. You said you had a little bit realization when you rocked up to the tens the other day.
Yeah, if you're 36, it's hectic to play against 20-year-olds that play club rugby full time. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But you know, for me to have the opportunity to Donor a Springbok it was like the ultimate thing for
You know-
me. I was like, in my training, I was thinking to myself, I can say that forever.
Yeah.
Amur the Springbok.
Dude, you know what's
it
the
was
weirdest
part of
thing?
my mindset.
I watched the fight again this week just to go through all the research and stuff. He's a pro rugby player and you were fitter than him. Like he gassed.
No, but I knew he was a little bit out of shape because I don't think he was training a lot around that time. I think he obviously came back into it for the boxing and he was training hard, but he definitely gassed. And I knew, if I'm going to run further, if I'm going to spend more time in the gym, I'm going to be fitter than him. And it paid off.
How much is the pressure to win?
For me, huge. I mean, I don't think anyone really expected me to win. Obviously, Rock Muso against
I think some people bought some Harleys, houses,
against the
timeshare with the money they won of that bet.
against the Springbok. So I realized afterwards, I actually wrote like a victory song that I released after the fight, but I wrote it like in the lead up to the fight.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that wrote the song with me, it's Fred from Dievels Fantastisch. He told me afterwards that he thought that Derek was going to win. So I was like, you
Well,
wrote the victory song with me, but you didn't have
Thanks
the
for being in
faith.
my corner,
Yeah.
dude. Thanks for being in my corner.
So obviously a lot of people thought I'm not going to win. I worked hard, so that was a mission for me.
Yeah.
I went
How did you
completely
do the
box
training?
crazy.
Like I'm trying to get into better shape. They say round is a shape, but I want a different shape than round. But how did you fit that training into your schedule? Because I know my schedule is 140 flights. You're probably doing 200 flights a year. We're all over the country. How do you fit the training into it?
Yeah, actually we got quite lucky there because it was in the middle of the COVID vibes. It was in March this year or May. So there was not a lot of shows. So I could actually focus my time on that and I didn't really care about doing anything else, which was amazing. So I could really focus on training 6 days a week. I made my wife crazy though because she wasn't used to this sport dude in the house. I'm like, I have to go box this morning and then I'm coming home and I'm running and I'm doing this and that. And we just had a little baby as well.
Yeah.
So I irritated her a lot with this new sport vibe. But it paid off, and I took it very seriously.
Yeah, I do think that actually the sports side, exercise and all that kind of. Because usually like a sales coach, we should be training more. As a muso, you're on the road the whole time, you should be training more. How do you feel that the fitness thing influenced your more performance on stage and stuff?
Dude, it's crazy. Like now, I realize because I'm trying to keep doing what I did. Training for the boxing.
We won't tell anybody about the sushi. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. I love sushi. So I try and keep. I try and keep as fit as I was for the fight, and now performances are way easier. I'm just in a better shape. It's
So
lekker to
we
be
just
fit.
got the heads up now. The easiest thing to do is just the informal thing. So let me start with the question that everybody wants to know. Dude, how rich are you?
How
You gotta
rich
be
am I?
fucking rich. Gotta be that. Your one video's got 120 million views.
No, you got
Used-
one. You got 1 0 too many.
No, it's 120 million
It's
views.
12 million. 12 million.
The one with whatchamacallit, with Corin
50K,
Zoid.
yeah, and that's one of
I
the.
literally checked it last night. It said 120.
It's got you've got 1 0 too many.
Shit. Okay, 12 million.
12
Okay.
million, but that is one of the biggest.
How much
South
money do you
African
make off
videos.
that?
How much money do I make of that? I make money monthly from YouTube views accumulated over all my videos. And I would say it makes out maybe 10% of my monthly income.
Shit. That's
Yeah.
a decent income.
So, but YouTube is one of the lesser paying streaming platforms. So,
Okay, so let's reverse this bus quickly, right? So, Boykie van Belwel started playing music with some buddies, which is always nice, right? Probably booked the first, I saw you booked the first school hall, like type of vibes there, and then you start growing, then you start making money. So let's start there. So, did you start making, do you think that in today's society, if I was a muso, that I should go the YouTube and online route, like a lot of guys do, get the millions of followers, try to get that? Or do you think the pub route is financially more sound?
okay. When we started, I didn't think about making money. Like we thought about making music.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care about money at all. I didn't care about any materialistic things.
Great, Luke.
I lived in a room with the rest of Fokopoliska. I had like a yellow room that was this big. What I owned was like a mattress in the corner with dirty sheets and a stack of porn mags. That's like all I had.
Motivation, what the fuck? Gotta do what you gotta do when it's a bad day.
That's all I had. And all I was worried about is making music, being on the road, living my passion, and partying, obviously, was a big part of it. So we didn't really care about making money. We just wanted to make music. I think for us, we lived out like a band kitty, and if there's no money in that kitty, you don't go out. You don't drink. You don't go party.
I think that's a good thing. How does the band kitty thing works? Do you get like a monthly pool of it, or just every show of it?
Yeah, so we kind of lived out of a band kitty. Everyone would share the same money. We would share clothes, whatever.
Een brood, polony, that
exactly.
vibes.
It would depend. Like we would eat on how much money we would have. Like on the road, we'll eat steak, and we get home, we'll eat toast. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But that obviously changed through the years. I think it is very difficult to make money in the early days of your career playing rock music in South Africa. It's not an easy thing, especially if you're 5 people in a band. So through the years, we realized we're going to set up a business and start paying little salaries to each other, and that obviously grew over time. And Francois Police Car took a break. All of us took on other projects. I started doing other things. Some of the guys in the band started studios. I started doing other bands, doing some TV work, doing this and that. And now I have a couple of different income streams from different things that I do.
Okay, so starting this band now. I play an instrument or two, but not your level. I'm in normal vibes. And it's expensive. You can't rock up there with a Cash Crusaders guitar. You can, if you're really good at it. I remember when I started my business, right? Boykie van Parrow, started my business, employed some people, employed some more people, grew my business, became a sales coach, and then nobody wants to help you. I mean, you have to pay for every venue, every water, and then somewhere it just switches, where all of a sudden everybody wants to be on the bandwagon and help you. Where did that switch come? Because it had to come out somewhere.
Yeah. Obviously, we started playing on like terrible guitars and gear. We didn't have anything
Back
really.
of trucks and
skier. Whatever we could really find. I mean, no one had a decent guitar. I think our Johnny, the lead guitarist, had a decent guitar when we started. No one else had a decent guitar. But like those.
Is that why he's the lead guitarist?
Yeah, I guess. It was also the best. But for us, I think in Francois Police Car, we got very lucky. I think we worked in the industry, me and Wynand, the bass player, we were sound engineers. So we worked in the industry seeing what bands do for about 2 years. We worked in-house at a place called Purple Turtle in Cape Town. So we saw like...
No, did you work at Purple Turtle?
Yeah. We saw like 180 bands in a year. So we were like, they do this right, they do this right. And we kind of decided when we start this project, we're going to do it as right as possible, or as close to right as what we can. So we tried to put things in place. We did a lot of marketing before, started with like sticking up stickers in Stellenbosch.
I wanted to ask you that question. Like, dude, your first stuff that made you different from the Yuri Els and those kind of guys, right? Is your graphics on your posters was still different than previous.
Yeah, I think we wanted to.
It was more art that you want to have in your bedroom than it was want to get stuck on the side of a building.
Yeah, we that was a big part of the project as well. We were making music that we thought of as an international standard, or what we would like to listen to, and we wanted to add the visual side to that in performance and the way our album art and flyers and stuff like that look. Because at that time, we would go to bars with flyers to go advertise our shows. We would go into the streets and put up posters, before social media.
Old school.
Old school way, yeah.
Who gave you your first big break, do you feel?
I think we
Before I ask that question, ask this. If you have to look back at your career, right, was there ever a stage in your life that you decided, fuck it, I want to give this up. This is just too hard.
Yeah, a couple of times actually. With Francois Police Car, we went on a little break in 2007, and to me, the band was alpha and omega. That was all I thought I could do. It was like, That's my thing, and now it's gone. What am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
I'm just the drunk singer of Folk of Politica. What do I do next?
Garden services.
So that year I enrolled at UNISA. I thought I'm going to study. I was like 26. I thought I was going to start studying now.
Yeah.
Tried to do some projects through the year, and then I realized this is not going to work. So I started another band,
Yeah.
Van Coke Cartel, and
Apparently, is it well known?
And for me, for that it was very hard doing something that was more my own. I mean,
How did the previous band members feel about that?
yeah, it was their decision to kind of take a break with Folk of So. I think they felt
So it's just loyalty. I mean,
it's
if you
justified.
it's a loyalty thing. I understand.
Yeah,
that,
I started that project, and then it was more mine. I mean, I was writing all the lyrics, I was writing all the music. So, and I never thought that I would do that. So, starting that project, and that band also came to a halt in 2014. So I was again at this place like, what the hell am I doing now? And that's how I started my solo career. I started writing songs for what would become a solo career. Never in my life I would have imagined I'm going to be a solo artist. I just wanted to be the dude in the band, you know, bass player, guitarist, whatever. Now, you know, now I've got a successful solo career. Luckily, you know, things worked out, and I could reimagine myself through the years a couple of times.
Do you believe in luck?
I think it's there is luck involved, but I mean, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Eh?
I always say,
Player.
I believe in educated guesses. You don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
But also, like I said, if Gary Player says, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
Right? If I go out and ask one guy to play in his pub, then I have a certain amount of luck. If I ask 100, my luck increases.
For sure.
Just for numbers.
For sure.
Okay. Do you have something that when you really got some cash in the bank, right, and you got some money, what's the first thing you really bought, you still kept, that reminds you of the humble beginnings?
Jeez, I'm not really... I've got an expensive guitar. I've got a nice guitar. I've got a nice acoustic
The one you
guitar.
never play or the one just in the...
No, I play it and it goes on the road, but I've
Okay.
got a nice guitar. I mean, like, if I have to think about materialistic things, that's not really things that I hold dear, but I've got a cool guitar. Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got it. Start the band, got that going. Guys are playing how many shows a year?
Yeah, I would say up to 150 a year, yeah.
That's decent. That's you grafting. Other bands play once every Saturday and want to be famous. So you got that. Groupies. Okay, let's leave that for a second. Let's go roadies, right? You need people to support the band. Unless you're carrying everything, you're plugging in. When did that start happening?
Yeah, we actually travel without a roadie all my projects at the moment. I mean, it would be nice to employ someone, but it's a extra expense. It's not the hardest thing in the world to plug your guitar in. I mean, we can still do that. We travel with a merch guy that sells merchandise. He also doubles as a driver.
Designated driver or just driver?
Hey?
Now it's probably just a driver.
Designated driver, yeah, there must be someone that's kind of sober. I mean, when we were young, we didn't care, but now, years down the line, we're a little bit more responsible.
Bribes are more expensive now. So
yeah.
so you gotta pay.
You can't bribe in Cape Town, that's the other thing. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the biggest issue, but I mean, a good team around you is super important. I mean, when I started my solo career, I was trying to cut costs because I was like, this is a new thing. I did everything myself.
Yeah.
I booked the shows, managed the band, booked from the flights to everything else on my own. And just doing that amount of work killed me because then you kind of step away from being creative. So I got a team together, like in the second year of my solo career, that I still work with today.
I remember from my side, right? So when I started my career, I'm kind of well known in my circles of coaches in the country that I don't often collab. The reason for that being is, I mean, you put in all the hard work. You build the brand. You put the money in your brand. You know, you fly the 140 flights or now drive the millions of kilometers. And then guys just want to latch onto the brand, doesn't want to do work, and just want to capitalize off kind of your fame. So I've always had the rule to not collab that much with other people. How do you feel collabing with other bands? Because you got some nice things going out there. You know, the Corin Zoy thing, you know, the Jack Parrott thing, right? How did collab influence also popularity with you?
Yeah, I believe in working with people. Like that's my like in my solo career. I also have a band that I write with, so I collab daily with them, and collabing with other artists kind of happened naturally. You know, we knew Jack Barrow from when we were lighties, and I had this song in another band, Dance Dance Dance, and he liked it, and I sang it on his album, and that was kind of the first proper collab that I did.
Yeah.
And that kind of exploded. Back that was 2009 or something like that. And through the years, I've done multiple collabs, some very successful, some not at all. And at times, my wife was like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your time, like making a song with this and that one and that one?" But kind of those things contributed to where I am today. And now, for the last 2 years, I've been doing that Francois van Coke and Vrienden show with all my collaborators. So if I didn't do a lot of collabs, I would never have been able to do that. And that's like a big part of my career now. So
I think if you...
I'm happy I did that, sorry. And collabs works for me. I mean, I work hard. Hopefully the other person works hard too. And we add something to each other, learn from each other, and hopefully create something cool. It doesn't always work though, but
I think one of the probably top right, one of the Coron's Woord is really big. The Spoegwolf one is really big.
Yeah, both of those probably my biggest songs.
Yeah, I think I checked it took me a while to go through all your videos. It takes a while because you got great videos out there. But those two were your collabs, were your
my biggest songs, yeah. Sure. Those two.
That's always nice. Okay, then I've got a couple of guys, like I've asked questions from everybody, so I'm asking all these questions. This one actually came from, most people think that when you're a rock star, because you're a rock star, I mean, what did you do, right? You're the original South African rock star. Before you, it was Yuri Els and Blaise Bridges.
Yeah,
and then you changed the music industry forever.
I play rock music.
Nah, you changed the industry. I mean, before you, there was never something like you. I think that's why a lot of people were shit scared, because there was never something like you. Then you rocked up to the stage, changed the name, right? That was a new thing. Two questions. First, I've tried to research, my staff tried to research, everybody tried to research. We know your mom said, don't mention the surname.
Yeah.
But where does Van
Coke come from? I can tell you that story. Because it's pretty stupid, but I'll tell you.
It's literally a hidden story.
We've
researched the shit out of this thing.
I'll tell you. Me and Hunter, that plays in Folk of Police Car, we were in a band before Folk of Police Car called Newell Inside. So we were fresh out of high school. I was 20, he was 18. I think he might have still been in matric. And at that stage, there was lots of Battle of the Bands happening. I think that's actually a thing that the kids miss these days. There's not a lot of that happening. But we won a Battle of the Bands, and then you win a...
Potential business opportunity for Francois van Coke?
Yeah, you never know. So then we won a Battle of the Bands, but you win a recording at some audio school. So you get all the students record you, and it's some recording that you can never use anyway. So cuck, but...
I did that in the beginning of my career, where you say, listen guys, I have a 5,000 rand prize. Take your graphic designers, go on the best photo, gets the prize. And then you get some of the stuff like... Can't post that stuff.
Just something like that. So we won this recording, went to this place in Durbanville. I can't remember the school's name, but there was one of the students was from Vredendal. Our drummer was from Vredendal. There's a Coca-Cola factory in Vredendal. So they started talking about this guy that works for Coke, Jaco van Coke or whatever. And
Coke rep. There's always a Coke rep in the platteland.
Yeah, so we were like, damn, that's so funny. This guy's name's Jaco van Coke. So hilarious. And then... years down the line, when my mom asked me not to use my name, the first thing that came up, because we had this running joke, it was like, in the next interview, I was like, my name is Francois van Coke now. And it stuck from 2004.
Did you legally change it?
No, I'm still Badenhorst.
Okay, because I checked the wife's surname, still Badenhorst. I didn't check it's Van Coke.
Yeah, my daughter says she's Badenhorst because she's not a singer.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't want anything to do with Van Coke.
So, going back to that second question, right? So, Rockstar. Fucking touring all over, crushing it in clubs, crushing it in pubs, back of a skier somewhere in the Free State. And you're caring hard, right? Afterwards, everybody wants to buy a Jaeger for you. Everybody wants to buy a full Brandewijn for you. Stop drinking right now where you are right now. Because, you don't want to drink anymore. It's a health choice, which is great for you. And it makes you perform at better rate. How has that influenced the after-party scene for you?
I don't partake in it anymore. It's like... it was very hard for me to realize that that's over.
Yeah.
But I stopped drinking 7 years ago. It's like, and now, I mean, I don't even think about it anymore. But when I stopped drinking because my life was out of control, so I know that my life is better without it, and I love the party. I mean, I entertain people and I get people to party, so I love the idea of party, but I don't partake in the after party anymore. My band will go and party, stay at the club. I'll end up in the hotel and watch like rugby reruns or something on TV and eat sweets or something stupid.
I've got this, she's probably going to watch this interview. So I've got this great client in Sandton, Nikki. And so whenever I tour every 2 weeks, because every 2 weeks I'm right across the country, Nikki would often phone me on the Wednesday night. She's a little bit older than a normal person. She's one of my CEOs I'm working and coaching with. And then she would phone me and she's like, Faf, what are you doing? But it's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. Wednesday night, Radisson Blue up in Joburg. I'm like, no, I'm really busy. She's like, Franz, you're probably sleeping. I'm like, shh, don't tell people I'm a rock star. Okay, I can't sleep at 7 o'clock. Dude, you get so tired that you don't want to go to the bar anymore. You don't want to party, And I mean, if somebody of your stature walks through airport, I can fairly float through airports and nobody knows who I am, except if there's business people. But with you, which is well known, I can't imagine just having a meal with my daughter. Like, I can't imagine sitting with my son at that age and, everybody wants to shake the hand, take the photo, get an autograph. How invasive is success to personal life?
Yeah, I mean, there's times when it gets irritating. I mean, probably more for my family than for me, because I'm used to it. And I guess in Cape Town, people aren't that obsessive. I think in the Gauteng, where we in Pretoria,
there's a smaller bubble.
We have a bigger fan base as well. There it gets quite intense, but down here it's not so bad. I mean, but it is the price you pay. I mean, like I started making music for people to eventually listen to the songs and appreciate it, and that's why they want to take a photo. That's why they want to chat, and then I'm down with it,
So, with the surname of Van Coke, how much money is Coke giving you?
Nothing. The only cool thing that came out of the whole Coke thing was I was a meme for a day when Coke said you must stop being too white.
Too white.
People said I must change my name to Van Pepsi, and I became a meme, and the meme went viral. So that was quite cool to be
so
a
let's
viral
get you
meme.
sponsored by Coke or Pepsi, right? Because you don't drink anymore.
Coke Zero, though, that's my drink.
If Coke
choice.
Zero would sponsor you, will you become Francois from Coke Zero?
If the money
you
is...
can market it 0 to hero. I mean, you can...
If the money is right.
Okay, and if Pepsi approach you...
Everyone's got their price.
So listen here, Pepsi sponsorship. Okay. Okay, so we spoke about kids. Kids is a tough thing, dude. Kids is like, I made this human. How did your daughter influence you?
Yeah, I mean, it changes everything. Like for me, obviously I was quite wild in my 20s and mid-30s, so I was always trying to delay the inevitable. Me and my wife, we've been together on and off since I was 21 years old. So we were together for...
She's the big love also.
Yeah. No, she's like the ultimate. I always knew that she's going to be the one. It was just a backing and forthing and
interviewing
giving and taking. And when we got married when I was 32, so it took like 11 years.
Yeah.
And for me, I was also still trying to delay kids because I just thought the responsibility is too hectic. I'm always on the road and I never in my mind when I was a lighty thought I want to be a dad. That like the first time I fell in love
it's scary.
The first time I fell in love with my baby was when my wife was pregnant. Then the first time I thought other babies were cute and I wanted to touch them. Before that, I didn't want to touch babies or anything.
Don't say that on the podcast channel. Tomorrow, front page. You never say you never get fucking highlights. Francois van Coke touches babies. You've heard it here now. Breaking news. Okay.
I want to touch babies. But I mean, just rubbing their heads or something like that.
Don't have to explain, it's fine.
So obviously, when my daughter came into our lives 5 years ago, that changed everything because it's not about you anymore. It's about that person. And I think like a lot of things has changed in terms of like trying to perform and trying to be the best because now I want the best for her.
How do your financial goals change?
Yeah, like I think we spoke about this briefly earlier.
Yeah, dude, both of us, we understand the poor. We both were like coming from that side, right?
Yeah, I think we spoke about it briefly earlier. Now, I have this saying that I probably started saying in the COVID time is whatever feeds the family.
Yeah.
So, I make music, but I'll do everything else to feed my family too.
Like The Voice.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Like the boxing, whatever, yeah.
How much you make for the boxing?
I've made a good one. That was a good one.
You said you can ask any question.
Oh, but
How much?
I don't like to talk about figures on
That's
public
just a
platforms.
figure show. This is what I'm talking. How much?
But I made
more than 100, less than 100.
more than 100.
Fuck me. To knock out a dude that's half fit in 5 rounds. Payday. I'm liking that.
It was, I'm, like I said, I could take like a little bit of time and focus on the boxing.
Yeah.
It could take like a couple of months. So it was cool. It was worth it. The whole exercise.
Well, for over 100 for 5 rounds, it can't be that bad. And you're not even a pro. Like that, there's pro guys that don't even make that.
I
pro guys.
know. The pro fighters in South Africa, it's actually a shame that they don't
crazy.
get paid very well. It's terrible.
It's like rugby players.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they have to leave to make money.
Yeah, but the South African oaks still, if you're at the top tier, you still make good bucks.
10
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, like things like The Voice, like doing stuff on TV, doing like, I guess, influencer
How did
kind
the
of stuff
voice
online.
happen? Because you haven't got that. You've got a unique voice, like crazy unique. It's not like a, let's say, Unita Duplessis, which you can basically, it's a nice voice, and you can coach that style of voices. But to get a Francois van Coke style of voice kind of person, that's was weird for me in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it actually was quite out there for The Voice to come to me because I don't even consider myself a singer. Yeah. Like I've never had any vocal training. I think I had vocal training after The Voice for the first time. And
Tashay is now with you.
She is my best friend Vina, that is also my manager, is her manager.
Yeah.
But she's not with me. I mean, I don't do anything for her besides for sing with her here and there.
Okay, so let's discuss this because everybody's wondering what happens behind the scene. Do you coach like all these people, really? Or is there some other dude stepping in and you're just the person out on the TV?
I can tell you this.
Yeah, okay, let's go there first.
Okay, so there is a vocal coach, real vocal coach.
Like a real one.
A real vocal coach.
So you don't say like ha ha ha. You don't.
No, but some of the coaches do. I couldn't teach Tasha anything. I mean, she's a way better singer than me.
She's good. She's alright.
Like, but I mean,
she's a Stelly, eh? My son is a Stelly.
She's
but
she's also from stays in Brackies now, and also stayed in Boston.
Yeah.
Same vibe. But
my son, when we heard this interview is coming up, my son told me last night that he's currently sitting in the Afrikaans class on the chair that Tashay sat in Stellenberg High School. And just like he says, just remember to tell Franco that I'm sitting on Tashay's seat in the Afrikaans class.
Cool.
So,
that's I hope you can.
He can't sing, don't worry.
So for me, I could teach her about performance. So like I would help her in that regard. So there was a choreographer that can help them with like special moves, but I can what my job was in my coaching style was, I would motivate them, try and get the best out of them and teach them about performance.
I think when she did the story on The Voice, that moment when that, I always say that Francois van Coke voice comes through, that raspy voice comes through, you could see the other contestants like, fuck, I'm done. I'm not going to win this thing.
Yeah, but
that was literally the one song that destroyed the rest of the contestants.
I think she was the best from the start, and I think most of the people knew that. I don't think anyone else really stood a chance. So I was very lucky that she chose me. I mean, she could have taken any coach.
So that's what I want to know. So you don't get them afterwards under your stable because you've got your own VCK, right?
I can tell you how things happened. So she won, and then she wins a album contract with Universal. But Universal came to me and they asked us to do the first EP at our studio.
Okay.
So I co-produced the first EP. And I obviously hooked her up with my friend Vainan, that's also the manager. He's actually the real business dude. Like he's the strategist that like
we have to get him on the podcast.
Plans the shit out. So he's her manager now, and
but Vainan played with you also on the Folk Off.
He still plays.
Yeah, he still plays with you.
Yeah. So he manages my solo career.
And he writes music, great music. I think he wrote the first album for you guys.
No, he's not much of a songwriter. His focus is more like the management side and planning, like that. He's very good at that, and obviously a good bass player. But he doesn't write that much.
Okay.
He has written some stuff, but that's not his main vibe. So Tashay we produced the first EP for her, but she's kind of moved on. So she's worked with other people now, also friends of mine. She's written with Hunter Kennedy that also plays in Fokov. So all of us have a little influence in her life, and for me, I'll get her to sing along at shows. She's featured on a Fokov Polisikar song. She will probably sing with me tomorrow night at Highlander. She'll probably come and sing a couple of songs because you know. So we're still well connected, but I don't have a specific job in her life.
Okay, so you basically just get paid to be the face of The Voice, but you don't actually get anything after that from any other contestants unless you sign them maybe to your label.
Yeah, I guess
Do you have that option?
I guess for me, no, you don't, because
it's locked in.
there's a label. But for me,
So even if you don't win it, so let's say number 5 that drop out, right? But they had a great voice, it was maybe just too nervous for camera. Can you sign those guys, or is everybody that goes to TV signed?
I think it's actually the top 10 has got first option to Universal.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can.
So they can still make money.
Yeah. Some of I know that the girl that came second, she released the album through Universal as well.
Okay.
So when I went on The Voice, my idea was to find someone that I can work with, make music with, collaborate, feature on songs, and all of that stuff has happened. And I never imagined that it would work out that well. You know, actually find someone that you can do something with.
Okay.
Which is great.
So you've made some money. Next question, big question for a lot of music guys, right? Where do you spend most of your except for food and alcohol and petrol? Okay, if you want to grow your brand, where do you spend your money into?
I think it's changed over the years. I think in the beginning, like I spoke to you about the early days of Fokov Polisikar, we tried to create the best productions, get the best sound, get the best show production, so you can
Lights,
look your
sound.
best, stuff like that, you know. Now over the years, still doing that, but I mean, I guess on the marketing side, we spend a bit more money. On social media, to get proper reach, you need to spend a bit of bucks. And
What is a band? I can't say you're the band, but let's say how much do you think you more or less drop to get your name out there constantly? Because everybody's had a marketing fee. I've got a marketing fee. You've got a marketing fee.
Shit, it depends. I mean, like say if we put out a new music video, we might put 5 or 10K behind it to push
Just
it.
bump it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So and then obviously we use PR people that we need to pay to shop the song to radio stations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's also quite important. People seem to oversee that a lot. PR, but I think for me that's a very important thing to spend money on.
So let's say I'm a young artist, older artist. I'm pushing now a little bit, writing better songs, getting better traction in the market. Who do I avoid? Because you've probably learned a lot.
Record labels.
Okay.
Yeah, these days you can do it all yourself. I mean, you don't need a record label.
I am dropping my book at the end of the year, right? So stop bitching, start pitching. And everybody's trying to get me to, I can sign with any place because I create my own clients.
Yeah.
But then I only own like 15% of the royalties.
You don't make money
and they
from books.
own you.
Yeah.
So, and if I'm looking at what happened when there's a lot of, I'm not going to name record labels in South Africa, but there was some stories floating around there recently about record labels maybe taking too much of artists. So you say do it solo.
Yeah, I mean, these days the record labels offer you a 360 deal. So they basically take a cut from everything you do. So live shows, whatever money you earn, they take something, which is, I mean, a bit of a joke. But obviously they're not selling CDs anymore, so and the revenue from streaming is not the same as what it was from CDs back in the day. And you know, for like a record label is basically in South Africa just a bank. I mean, they pay for your recording. If you can make enough money, save money to pay for your own recording, you can do everything else.
Do you think it's easier now to record with all the technology in the market than your years?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I'm not saying yours, but when we start 18 years ago?
Yes. The album of the year 2020 or 2019, Come on, bad guy. What's her name?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Yeah, she did it in a basically room with her buddy and a keyboard.
It was a brother in their parents' house in a room.
Yeah.
And it's like album of the year. He's producer of the year. It's much easier.
So
easier.
do you think the music industry is going to go the Netflix way where everything's just easier accessible?
Everything is streaming already.
So you're going to make most of your revenue basically from standing in front of people?
Always has been like that, yeah.
Okay.
Like we never sold a lot of records. I mean, I got lucky to sell a lot of albums with that when I had that song with Corin Zoid. But I mean, never before or after have I really sold a lot of albums because things changed so much in the market. Now it's streaming, that's the thing. And these days, a big hit is what you need.
Yeah.
A song that streams a lot, that's what you want.
Radio play. It's always been...
Radio play also helps, but these days it's more about like getting on the right playlists on Spotify and Apple Music, and those things also do a lot.
Okay, so last couple of things I want to chat about is when you're done with the singing side. I don't think you will be. Like you said, you're looking at a lot of the older brands, they're still playing around. But let's say one day you're like, okay, cool, daughter's now 16, I get to that stage where, you know, want to spend more time at home. What's going to be the next level of Francois van Coke?
Yeah,
I'm talking business-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I will always make music. I mean, I will probably make music until I die. And my mission in life is to do the most important things and not everything. You know, like that was like my mission before COVID. Obviously, COVID shook things up a little bit. So I was doing bigger shows. That was like kind of my main thing. The Francois and Finder shows that we would play to arenas for 10,000 people.
I saw, that's crazy.
So my mission is to focus on show promotion, and then obviously I've got a bunch of other things. I'm doing the alcohol brand Fok of Lager. We've got.
I wanted to chat about that also. So I saw you in the Fok of Lager. Are you part of the brand?
Yeah.
Or you just a spokesperson? They said, listen, we got beer. You want to market it? How does it work?
No, Fok of Lager belongs to the 5 guys in the band in Fok of Politica. So we've got that business interest, and then we've got a bar in Pretoria. It's the 5 of us and 2 partners. So Fok of Bar in Linwood Road. It's like in the.
Are they next week?
Student hub.
Yeah. We'll take a selfie there. Next week.
Yeah.
In Pretoria.
Please
so,
go and have a Fok of Lager at Fok of Bar.
I like that. Okay.
So and then obviously I focus on my merchandise quite a bit. So I mean I just like to expand all of those things, and I think the thing that could be most financially beneficial is probably doing big show promotions in the future of my own shows. Yeah.
So I'm gonna break it down. Tell me where I'm wrong. If you want to start a great music career, first of all, care about your music, right? Not about your name and where it's going to go in the future. Write great content.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you start thinking you want to make money, that will probably not work.
Yeah, because then a lot of bands sell out and they go to what's popular instead of what's true.
And do what you want to do.
Okay. Secondly, what you do is avoid record labels. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not scared of saying that.
Third thing you do is stay literally as close as you can to your audience, basically on stage all the time, right? Do the 100 shows a year, or do 200 shows a year. Make sure you interact with the fans. Okay. 3, invest in great equipment. That helps a bit. So, is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, you can
start
do it
with shitty equipment, but upgrade.
You can probably do it with crap equipment, but it's nicer to play good equipment.
Okay. Building your brand, I would say social media is really important right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say if you have to choose one social media outlet? What would be the most effective for a young artist?
I think TikTok at the moment. Like, I don't really have a very active TikTok vibe, but I know bands are breaking it overseas through 15-minute clips on TikTok.
That's
so
crazy.
if you, like, I think, if someone makes a dance on your TikTok thing and it goes viral, I mean, your song is massive. I think TikTok's probably the most important. I need to up my game on TikTok.
Dude, we're in literally the same boat there. I've got all the, and TikTok, I'm like, okay, I've already done everything on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, I've got the Spotify and I've got the Apple podcast. What do I now do on TikTok? And I'm not going to dance. I can, but it looks like a polar bear dancing. So that shit's not going to work for me. So I'm just using TikTok now for my sarcasm. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
where
that's
I'm in
cool.
this one. Let's just see how that thing goes out.
That's cool. I mean, if you find whatever you find that works for you on TikTok, that can work. I mean, I just haven't really found my TikTok niche. But for me, Instagram and Facebook still works great.
I think it'll work as if you do a Gundam style.
Is it?
You got that vibes. I don't-
Belville style.
Belville style. No, but you're going to slap two people. So, okay. So what we try to do from our side to help, one of my key things I try to do in my business is I help companies, right? 1,100 brands are with me, just over 120,000 people I'm coaching in South Africa. And I never wanted to be a coach. I actually just wanted to be a business person, an entrepreneur, employ some people, run my own businesses, and then clients ask me for help. And so the reason why we're having people on all the time is, to help smaller businesses grow their brand, and I think there's a Spider-Man movie that says, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think once you start off, nobody wants to help you. Fucking sucks, right? You have to pay for everything. Spoke about that. Then once you become a little more successful, you tend to get the opportunity to help people that you wouldn't normally have helped. So one of them is I'm trying to help businesses all the time. So one of the things we're doing to say thanks for you to come on board, we spoke about this, is you have a charity organization. Okay.
Yeah, I work with Badisa. I've been working with them for probably the last year and a half.
Yeah.
On a couple of different projects. We actually, at the moment, we make watches with my brand, Van Coke's and Badisa, and they take the profits from that.
Cool. Where do we get the watches? How do we get them to get some money?
Vancokes.co.za.
Okay.
And yeah, that's my merchandise store, and the watches are on there as well.
I think I saw it on your Instagram. There's a link to it also.
Yeah.
So you go to the Instagram, you go to the link on his Instagram, it drops down, and then there's Van Coke store there.
That's it.
Okay, so everybody go there. Second thing is, from our side, Rockstar Sales Coach, we want to help everybody that you guys are helping. So we'll be sponsoring 2,000 Rand to Badisa on your behalf.
Amazing. That's great,
just to
man.
say
Thank
thanks
you
for
so
coming
much.
on the show. I know you just came from rehearsals to run this, but also we have every episode we're going to do, we've got a sponsorship. So there's a sponsored guy coming on board, a company that's smaller that wants to grow their brand, and they give the person out of the chair, they give something nice. So we are bringing on EPS Systems. It's a local Brackenfell-based company. They employ. So how this company actually works, they had some bad reviews on Facebook. I won't even lie. Like 9 bad reviews. But the bad reviews are like, these people work too late. They knock on my door at 9 o'clock in the evening. So that's the kind of bad reviews. But what this company has really done successful in the last 20 years is very simple. They take people from disadvantaged communities. They bring them into this company. They teach themselves. So I'm involved with this company also. So we teach themselves, and then we teach these kids that has no job, no opportunity, no education, how to be great at sales. We send them out, and then actually they start selling EPS systems, and they work for the company, and they earn a great income. And so the company has about 9,000 clients across South Africa, and is the fastest growing energy saving company in the country. So what we're going to do for you, Francois, is we're installing, that is a voucher for you, for EPS systems. So what we're doing for you is we are installing a EPS system with 12,495 Rand into your home this week. It saves your electricity about 35% in the first hour. So it cuts your electricity bill with about 35%
Incredible.
thanks to EPS systems.
Incredible.
It's a local Brackenfell company that's been having a lot of progress. We're on a couple of radio stations, if you've heard that also. So Francois, for coming into the show, I want to say thanks for that. I want to help Badisa, help you also to get that
Wow,
house.
thank you so much. Really appreciate
So
it.
now I've got
Francois.
more money to spend on the wife for date night. So.
Amazing.
Okay. So one of the things we're trying to do from our side is, get people involved everywhere. So we've done the business thing and all that, but we also have fans. So you've got way more than me. Let's just drop that there. I've got a here and there business client, that always wants to know. So we said we're getting Francois versus Francois van Coke on show. Get us somebody that wants to ask a question. We had so many people competing, and then I was thinking it's going to get local, but we got somebody from Durban to ask a question. She is here. We've got Mish in the house to ask a question. So I'm going to step aside. There we go.
How's it?
Hi, Michelle.
You well?
Good.
Cool. Thanks so much. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad I got the opportunity to come. Thank you, Francois. And I just wanted to find out, coming from Durban, it's very different to Cape Town, very different to Johannesburg. It'd be fantastic to know a bit about your upbringing in terms of, we spoke earlier how kids today kind of just get handed everything, cars and cell phones, and we were talking about Nokia 3310. And I wanted to find out your upbringing. How did you go about getting the things that you needed in order to become a success, getting the things that, you needed to use?
Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up very modest. I guess my dad's a Dutch Reformed minister and my mom's a teacher. So, I kind of in the northern suburbs of Cape Town. So I guess we had everything we needed, but we never had a lot of bucks. I mean, for me, like I said to Francois earlier, when I started making music, it wasn't really about making money. I was just on a mission to do stuff. I wanted to make music, and I think that drive coming from very normal suburbia kind of drove me to push myself and be on a mission. And I still have that drive today. I can't stand still for very long, and I'm always on to something else as soon as I can do something else. So I think that's probably one of my bigger talents than music is like being super determined. So I think that probably comes from my upbringing.
Nice. And then when you are off tour and you're at home and everything, what's kind of like your go-to plan? Are you up early? Do you sleep in? Try and take advantage of that, or?
I've got 2 little kids, so I don't sleep late at all. But I was always up early. Even when I was partying hard, I was always the guy that's up earliest. But I mean, what I do when I'm not on the road is I spend time with my family. That's my first mission, quality time, because I miss them a lot when I'm away. And I am kind of into running, so I run and I box. I kept on boxing a bit, so I guess that's my kind of 2 hobbies outside.
Music and touring.
Outside music and my family. Yeah.
Awesome.
So and it's quite sporty things, which I don't think people will think I'm into that vibe, but I love those 2 things. Yeah, that's my mission.
That's awesome. That's really, really good. One more question. We got time for one more question?
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We paid for nothing, don't worry.
So if you had to go back and kind of talk to your younger self and give advice to your younger self, or even kids, I know there's a letter out there that you've kind of get, but what would be the kind of best advice?
For a young musician, I think practice as much as you can. Work on your craft. I mean, I didn't do a lot of that. Like, I was in high school, I was into rugby, and then I guess partying and girls. So I didn't spend a lot of time on my instrument. I wish I did when I was younger. But when we started the band, we were like, we're going to be the best, and we're going to practice hard, we're going to rehearse, we're going to work hard. So I think, like, work on your craft. And if you want to be an amazing guitarist, you need to put in the hours.
Practice.
And then surround yourself with people that you get along with. In your band and in your team, it's people that you're kind of married to in a different way.
Become your family almost.
Yeah. So
awesome.
for me, I feel very blessed that I found like 5 people to work with twice in my life, 2 different dynamics with 2 different groups that I am very happy with the dynamic that I have with both. That's Folk of Police Car and my band Die Gevaar that I play with in my solo career. So I think that's important. Even get a buddy that can't play, but he's your buddy, and teach him how to play rather than someone that you don't get along with.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds great. Thank you so much for answering our questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Let's switch seats again. Thanks, Mesh. So for the guys who's following on our next podcast, one we're also going to do, got a couple other people also coming on. You can also be on the show, chat to the celeb in the seat, and have some questions. I wanted to ask 2 more things. Okay, one more thing is, you touched on it, and I wanted to end off with this. How important is the people you surround yourself with? That was the first question, and the second question is, how important is working on the craft? And you just dropped some knowledge, because I think in sales, who you're hanging out with, the clients you're contacting, the people you're approaching, and your craft skill is very important. And as a muso, how would you say it does that rate?
Yeah, okay. I'll start with the team. I think like a team is super important. I don't have a massive team. I've got a manager, a booking agent, and a PR/management assistant person. And I can trust all 3 of them with my whole life. And if I'm on the road, I hear good reports of the way they deal with people.
I think
So
my booking agent is absolutely in love with your booking agent at the moment.
amazing.
The two girls are getting on like a house on fire.
Great.
It's great.
Great. So yeah, so I think a team is super important. Like I said, in a band environment, it's kind of the same. It's like about the people that surround you, you surround yourself with, and they will add to what you are not that good at. You know.
Yeah.
So I hate doing admin. I'm just not.
Seriously.
I'm just not the admin guy.
Check out they're laughing in the crowd. Dude, I fucking suck at that, man. I haven't sent an email in 3 years and people don't believe me.
And there's people that are better at that, and let's make
way better.
Let's make use of them. So that's amazing. And then working on your craft is obviously super important. You know, for me as a songwriter, the more you write, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
The more easily it comes. So you know, work at that. You know, I think I know the best guitar players, the best skilled musicians were the guys that put in the hours. That's why they're good.
I'm constantly listening to different kind of motivational coaches around the world, and I'm kind of liking Will Smith. And Will Smith always said this is great disillusion between natural skill and talent. And some people have very high natural talents, but they never develop the skill side of it. Where other people might not have the natural talent, but if you work on the skill, you surpass the natural talent people. So I think if you're saying like that, you know, you gotta graft.
Yeah.
You literally gotta put the hours. Can't just be on stage all the time when nobody's watching. What are you doing with your craft?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, also if you're a young band, play as much as you can, because that's how you learn. You know, I mean, I did that since I was a 15-year-old light year. I've been playing in bands. It's like it's like second nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I dissed record labels very badly, so I just actually want to say there is actually new labels that are artist-centric.
Do you want to give a shout out to one label that looks after you?
Yeah, I don't have I'm not signed to a label, but I've got friends that are signed to a label called Platoon that is like artist-centric and looking forward into the future, into the digital domain, and a lot of the other labels haven't stepped up
To that level.
to that level yet. Yeah.
Okay, tell us before we can finish up. Tell us what Francois van Coke is on. What's happening in your life in the next couple of weeks and months? What can we look forward to? I know you're working on the new stuff, the new album. Signed copy for the office if you can. So
Obviously, I brought a vinyl in here.
You
and
did?
it was actually not
Where's that
for you,
vinyl?
but I'm going to send you one.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
send you
think
one.
it's in the seat back there. We can do a quick shout out on that.
I'm going to send you one. My mission for the next couple of months is...
It's dagdroom is one.
Yeah, I'll send you one. I'll make a point of it.
Okay. There you go.
Awesome. I'm obviously playing a lot of shows. I'm basically playing shows until the end of the year.
Yeah.
And in the middle, I'm recording the first stuff that will be on my 4th album.
How about we do one thing? You don't have to do it, but let's see if this will accumulate in the future. How about Francois van Coke doing one organized battle of the bands, new artists?
I would love to do that. I mean, I would love to do that.
There's so many venues standing empty. It can't be that hard to organize something.
Yeah, I would just like to do it of a bigger scale than that. You know, like something like The Voice for bands or something like that could
That's the next level.
be great. Unfortunately,
If you need a sales coach, I know somebody.
yeah, the market for rock music in South Africa is so tough, and I mean it was at a better level when that MCAR channel was around, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And then they had like rock spider competitions, band competitions, and I think that added a lot to the industry at the time. So I think something like that is needed for rock music listeners and young peeps.
Anything else you want to drop?
Love you, man.
Dude, thanks for coming in now. Like, you know what's the nice thing about you? We spoke about this beforehand. But we're both boykies from the same area, which means we people don't believe it, but we're humble as fuck. So we are. You know, we know where you start off and what you have to do to get to the top. And I think often, you know, you want to see you want to champion other people also. So to say thanks to come out of your business schedule, coming into the studio, it's always nice. That I have to give a shout out to one dude behind the scenes always. This dude has been down since day one, right? Nelis Englebrecht, Light Lounge Studios. I'm not saying this because he's filming this thing for us. I'm saying this because I met this dude and he was a wedding photographer shooting on weekends. Now this dude is an icon in the photography industry, in the video industry. So if you guys do want to have a kick-ass production as this one, this dude set this up in like 4 minutes. That's the level of what they're operating at. So give a shout out to Light Lunch Studios. Thanks very much. Okay, dude, so listen here, for all the people out there, we know it's COVID. We know it's tough out there. You can't just do 100 shows all the time. Venues are half-packed. Where do we get your merch? How do we make you more rich?
Everything on vancokes.co.za. Albums, t-shirts, jackets, jerseys, watches, shades, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is my latest album released in 2019.
Okay, we're waiting for the new one. Don't worry.
New one,
We'll drop that also. So social media, give the guys your links. Where are we?
At Francois van Coke everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
So from my side, you know, if you want to follow us, we're doing really well on our Facebook pages. Rockstar Sales Coach. Easiest way to find me is quite simple. Go to Google, type in best sales coach in Africa.
Boom!
Or go into South Africa and say best sales coach in South Africa.
Boom!
Apparently I'm both.
Nice.
So it's not that tough to find me. I don't need a business card anymore. From my side, guys, like I always say, life is short. Life is tough. Life is not easy. It's not going to be easy. But if you really want to rock it with people like Francois. Right? That's what you want to do. So from my side, I want to say thanks so much for coming on the show. Follow the rest of the stuff. Life's too short not to be the best at being you. Just be a rock star. Cheers, cheers.